Okay. Hello, Dylan. Welcome to the interview couch.
Hello, Noah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm sorry.
Just dies instantaneously.
I'm getting over that freshers flu. That's probably why.
True. All right, I've got a few questions for you, and the first one is, what is your background in music? Describe what influences you had growing up, and how you got into music, generally speaking.
So I first picked up the guitar when I was 9 years old, and I was sick of swimming. I was sick of playing soccer. I was sick of volleyball, and my parents were like, "You need something to do with your life. We're gonna get you a guitar." And it wasn't until probably the third lesson when I was actually into it, and it was actually one of the first guitar riffs I learned was the opening to that Yes song, Roundabout.
Show me it.
So it was the and once I figured that out, I was like, because pinch harmonics was not something you'd expect to kind of learn.
No.
Like in your first kind of
Yeah.
guitar lesson, and because of that, I was just totally hooked on it. And once I got kind of like sick of playing acoustic, my teacher immediately brought in an electric guitar.
So you learned pinch on acoustic first?
Yeah, it was one of the first cool little tricks I learned how to play, and I was like, damn, I actually sound like a guitar player. What? And so ever since then, I just became obsessed.
Yeah.
My whole family is a very music consumer family. I grew up on like David Bowie and the Beatles, all that good shit from the 70s, and in England, which is what brought both of us over here.
Really?
That's what brought me over here.
Yeah.
The music, British music.
Fair enough. So, what guitarist would you say you try to emulate the most? Obviously, you are very unique in your style, but what artist do you feel like, oh my god, that's the pinnacle of guitar playing? Like, that's what I want to be.
So it's changed over the years. The first one was definitely Slash. I mean, he was kind of the reason why I wanted to get a Gibson Les Paul. I love this guitar so much, and it's a beauty. And then after that, probably shifted a bit to Hendrix and Jimmy Page, both two great guitar players who kind of wrote the book of how to sound good. But over time, like, and mixing with a bunch of cool other musicians, I've kind of discovered this other guy named Mark Spear from this band called Khruangbin, and I love that band so much.
Khruangbin?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've collaborated. They did a collaboration with Leon Bridges called Texas Sun and Texas Moon.
Ooh, okay.
Two great EPs, and I wish that they did something together.
Yeah.
And he's a lot more clear tone, and I feel like I draw a lot of inspiration from him for a lot of the Razz The Rose stuff, especially because that clear tone is something.
Yeah, you don't get to use a lot of distortion in the song.
I remember when we first met. Remember when we first met? I would not stop playing distortion.
Yeah.
Stuff. And now,
True.
And now I'm shifting a little bit because it's fun doing clear tone stuff.
That perfectly transitions to my next question, which was, how has the band changed your style and approach to playing?
Okay. So I used to be a total hard rock guy. I loved my Led Zeppelin. I loved my Guns N' Roses. Yeah. I'm kind of shifting away from Guns N' Roses these days, but since I've been jamming with you guys, and I've always tried to keep an open mind to learning new stuff, and you guys just won't stop introducing me to new stuff. I've kind of definitely changed to be more of like open to using jazz chords and less power chords and bringing down that gain a little bit, you know what I mean? And turning on that chorus, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
I remember the first time I met you, obviously at Jam Night, and I told you I want to start a band, or I didn't say I want to start a band, I just said I am starting a band.
Yeah.
I want you in it, and I said that one of the things that you needed to know was that they're all jazz chords. Like, I don't play standard triads. Like, it's all sevens and diminished and augmented, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
and you do, but it's insane to see your progression as you get so much more comfortable now playing these crazy wacky chords, whereas you never were bad at it, but you clearly were like,
I've gotten better.
What is a 7? Like, what do you mean a 9 add 12 or whatever? You know?
How do you diminish a chord? What does that mean?
But you I just throw all these chords and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to it. I mean, that's what happens when we practice for like a year. You know what I mean? So.
And I've definitely learned more like rock lingo and how.
Oh really?
I mean,
give me an example.
Well, like, I don't know, chord structure wise, there's definitely like, for instance, in the one we were just playing. Oh my gosh, what's it called? In Casual.
Yeah.
That like bridge, that last bridge section.
Yeah.
I would never write that. That was something you wrote, and I was like, ooh, okay, I get that. I can dig that. But yeah.
With the use of like major chords, kind of just doing the. Yeah, because I'm definitely just using straight up power chords for that one. But I remember you kind of jazzed it up, but and that like third in there, and I like that a lot better. Yeah.
Next question. What is the process like for you to learn new songs for the band? Like, describe how the rehearsal process goes in your mind.
So how it usually goes for me is we're all in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
We're all kind of sitting around each other. And you're like, okay, guys, I have this new progression I want to try out.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see where it goes from there. And you start playing it. I try to figure out what key it's in while Jude's trying to figure out the tempo. And then we jam out just that progression.
Yeah.
And then after that, we sort of we started talking about how we can add our own elements to it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if... for me, I'm kind of just like playing along and kind of figuring it out. While Jude is like, okay, how can I make this like rhythmic?
Yeah. How can I make it way more complicated?
Yeah. We love him though for that. And honestly, it's pushed us to do better with that new song. 100%. What's that one called again? Pessimistica.
Pessimistica.
Yeah. That one's. We were like, okay, what would Jude like if?
Yeah.
We added some little rhythmic displacement,
and
we came up with something pretty cool.
In my opinion, sick. If you guys haven't checked that one out.
You will see it
live. Come to a gig. Yeah,
come to our gigs.
We're not gonna play another gig without that song. Like, that song is gotta be in like every set list.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next question: what song / element of a song is the most difficult for you to play in the band?
So most difficult.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes it's the most difficult part is remembering the structure of them. Sometimes, I mean, we make a couple mistakes here and there, either ending early or playing the wrong chord at the wrong time.
Yeah,
but that's I think the most difficult part. But that's mainly because I'm still learning and trying to open my mind to learning all these new chords that you're showing me. You know what I mean?
Like 12 chords per song.
Yeah.
Plus, we don't really do any 4-chord songs.
No.
So.
No, we don't. But.
So that's the most difficult part. Is like just getting the structuring in your head.
Yeah, getting the structuring down in my head, trying to beat it into my head, even though we like rehearse every single day now.
Every day, yeah. Yep. All right. Good answer. Okay. All right. This one is the main reason I wanted to talk with you, which was what is your approach to writing solos, and then more specifically, the difference between ones that you independently wrote, where I was like, insert solo here, and then compared to what we did with Tension, where we wrote that together. Like, it was very melodic and stuff.
All right, that's a good question. When people usually say insert solo, I'm kind of just pentatonic. So lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Some triads in there and some nice little sexy bends like that. But when we write stuff together, I think I come up with more interesting solos. Because how many times have you heard pentatonic solos in the fucking 70s? Everywhere, like all that Led Zeppelin stuff. But with specifically Tension, I think we wrote a really, really gnarly solo together. I do feel like what it reminds me the most of is some of that like ELO guitar solo stuff. Yeah, because it's got like that kind of upbeat sound. The solo kind of goes like. You know, it's really precise.
Yeah.
And that's what I really, really like that, because sometimes, especially when I'm in my other band, Head Rot, I'm kind of just going... But, yeah, I
Which
do...
we love Head Rot.
We love Head Rot.
We love
Head Rot is very fun. But I feel like, you know, I do like how we implement a little bit more creativity in our solos.
Because they're more like melodically driven. They're more based off of what I'm singing and playing.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
With Original, however, I do think that one is a fun one, even though it's just purely pentatonic.
Oh, yeah,
you know, this is the... And I love Talia.
Yeah.
And she's an insane saxophone player. I fucking love the little octave harmony solo that we got together where it's like... And then it goes even higher, and I go on the bridge pickup, and I'm like... And it sounds even better with that wah pedal. Oh, another big inspiration that I picked up over the summer is King Gizzard. They have there's one particular album called Ice, Death, Planets, Mushrooms, and Fire, I think is what it's called.
Oh my God.
And it's just a jam album. I think I got that name wrong. Whatever.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Insert name here.
Please don't murder me. But they use a lot of that kind of like they do like a fast kind of solo. And they use the wah pedal and it goes. I wish I had my pedal board today to demonstrate it.
Yeah, you guys do not get a sneak peek at the pedal board. All right, sick. Next question. What role do you feel that you play in the band, both in terms of performance, but also with the rehearsal and the business element? And
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in the picture?
In the performance element, I'm the guitar guy. And I'm just the guitar guy. And then on the business side and rehearsal side, I like to think I'm your right-hand man. That's like the best way to describe it. Not to discredit any of the other members.
No.
Because they also know everybody.
Yeah.
And they also pitch in their ideas and contribute massively to the band's sound.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of practicing for like interviews and a lot of cold approaches with my dad, and you know, I come from like I don't come from a military background, but I do come from that sort of bubble.
Yeah.
Where like where people are super polite and very to the point and kind of it's all like business, and I feel like I can practice that a lot.
Yeah.
And so when we let's say you have to make a call with me to talk about like how we're gonna set up the gig, I feel like I kind of like push you a little bit and say, okay, what happens if this happens? What are you gonna do there? And I kind of like test you.
Yeah.
You know, just to help you out a little bit.
I agree. I really appreciate it. I would say though, my hand was stuck. I would say though that in performances you're not just the guitar guy. Like I feel like you are a crucial element of the interaction with the audience. You know, like for instance, when we do the acapella part of Strange, we just had that as an acapella, and then first gig we did at Cornish, you started clapping away.
Yeah.
And now that's like a part of that song. Like we don't that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And there's so many elements where you get the audience involved, and I think you're a great connection. Because sometimes when I play, I get lost in the chords and I forget that I'm playing to 100 people or whatever. But I feel like whenever I'm not doing that, you're always like bringing it to them and really performing it for them rather than always for the band. Like there's moments where we're interacting, obviously, especially during Original and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think you have a great ability to interact with the audience.
Thank you. I am a strong believer in audience participation because that just makes the show more enjoyable.
Yeah. Is there any element or like thing that you've done with the audience that you regret, that you're like, maybe I wouldn't have done that? Because I have a few that I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
For me, it might actually be at the Battle of the Bands gig when I asked Harry if I could lean off the stage.
Yeah.
So at the time, I thought that was fucking amazing because I forgot to mention Prince, still my number one guitar, one of my number one guitar heroes. I love that man to death, and his stage presence is like nobody else's. And I do feel like I kind of stole that move from him. There's a.
So it's more like you felt like, oh, that was his thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Because he did that exact move. There's another little video you can pop up while I'm talking about it. He does that exact move in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2004 performance of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And in that performance, he literally leans off the stage. That's a really sick solo.
Sure.
And I do feel like I stole that from him. But
it was pretty cool.
It felt pretty cool.
It looked pretty cool.
It felt pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. My next question is, what does it feel like playing live? Like, run through the emotional experience, the physical experience of playing for so many people music like that. What does it feel like?
So before I get on the stage, nowadays, before I get on stage, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fucking kill it. I'm ready to blow these guys' minds and call it a night afterwards and go to bed. But before, I would always get really, really anxious and kind of just fidgety and jittery, all that. Now I'm just like, okay, let's do this. You know, when we were first playing together, I felt like that. But you know, by the time the Cornish Bank gig came up, we were ready. Yeah, we were definitely ready, and we were. We kicked ass. It was great.
We won.
well,
not quite, but
a particular band named Petra actually won, and they are fucking amazing.
They are really, really good. My next question: what was your favorite gig that you performed for the band? We've had 6 now.
We've had 6.
We're gonna have 9, I think, by the time this video's out.
Okay, so remind me. We've done Battle of the Bands
at Cornish.
Fives below, opening for Police Snare.
Upper Deck. A Mata show, like the little.
the rehearsal space one. Okay, yeah, that was the cute one.
Then we had Cornish again.
I think the second Cornish Bank gig is my favorite.
Really?
Because we were. Yeah. It was the end of the year. We were all rhythmically tight. We had Talia. Yeah. It was the full lineup. Yeah, that was probably my favorite one because we had already conquered it once, and then we got to do it again, and we were asked to do it again, which
that was really cool. Yeah,
very cool. I was kind of blown away by that. It was really cool.
I would think that was their first gig where we'd been like sort of sought after. Like, the previous ones. We had done a lot of networking and been like, hey, you want to play with us? To these, like, to bands specifically. And then that second Cornish was the first one where, like, you know, I got a text message on the group, on their Instagram account, and like, hey, you guys down to play? And we're like, oh, yes. And wasn't that the one that you had a gig, like, a few hours before at Amata at Studio K? Was it the same day?
I had a Studio K gig. Oh yeah, it was Max. With Max. Yeah. So I had 2 gigs in one day. Yeah, that was my favorite.
That was pretty sick.
Because I got to play with the Scars, is what we call ourselves at the time. I think we're gonna change the name though. Ooh. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one.
All right, next question. What do you think it is that makes TR&TR or the Razz The Rose stand out, but in the midst of all of the other bands in Falmouth?
Falmouth has a really huge punk and metal scene.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bands that are within that genre. And there are very few that have such an emphasis on the keys.
Yeah.
You know, I can only think of like 2. And that includes us.
Yeah.
I can only think of 2 that have like such a huge... Yeah, because in our band, the keys is like a huge part of our sound. And yeah, I don't think anyone sounds like us.
No.
I don't think anyone sounds like us at all. Not to say that I don't love metal and rock. I fucking do.
We're at every gig. Yeah. Like, we don't miss a Falmouth gig these days. But
we just came, like, last night we were at that Mothman show.
Oh,
it was so good to hear those guys again.
It was Mothman the Man, the Clangers,
and Shoes Off. Shoes Off is another really good band. I like the bass player. She uses that really cool like triple octave pedal.
It was so cool. Oh my gosh.
I was three instruments in one or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Because I thought it sounds like an electric guitar, and I was like, do they have an electric guitarist?
Nope.
And it was like, no, it's just two instruments and then two
Yeah.
vocalists. And I was like, that is such a sick, like, because one, that's super easy to get like any gig with that. All you need is a kit and one amp.
Yep.
That's it. And that's so cool. Yeah. All right.
It's a huge sound for sure.
True. All right, last question. What do you want to do with the band in the future? What are your future goals for like venues or styles to play or bands to play with?
We have two goals right now. I feel like, at least from my perspective, from where I'm sitting. The first one is have a live album recorded.
Yeah.
And the second one is have either a recorded studio album or a studio EP. If I'm being honest with you, if we can get this Graveyard gig done this semester, we can have it mixed by January and possibly out soon. And then, or maybe even hold on to it before we release our studio stuff. So record the studio stuff over the second semester.
Potentially, yeah.
Those are the two big goals I think we have.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, of course.
Go check him out on the socials.
yeah. Really,
nice
I need the clout. Thank you. It was very nice meeting you too.
And
it's been a pleasure.
Check out the albums and the things that are out. I'm sure in the description we'll put lots of information about all the gigs and stuff we're doing. But Instagram is where you can find everything.
As of now.
True.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.